Hello and welcome back to Fundamental Forest, Roller Coaster Tycoon's answer to the idiom, a bad workman blames his tools. That's right, if you can't do it well without all of the hacks and cheats, you probably can't do it that well with all the hacks and cheats. Sorry to break it to you guys. After all, we've got to walk before we can run. And guess what? The talent isn't in the Tile Inspector, it isn't hidden inside the plugins, it is within you! Yes, you, Clive from Basingstoke. In this series, we forego all these amazing and groundbreaking features that devs have worked so hard on and return to the basics, the sandbox skills that are essential to people of all knowledge levels to make a beautiful, effective piece of Roller Coaster Tycoon. This episode's a bit of a throwback to episode 1. We're going to be doing a lot of live building in this episode, but we're also going to visit some of the areas that were built in between episodes. You can see I've done a little bit in this area, but not all that much. We're not going to be focusing so much on this area. With that being said, let's hop into the episode because we've got a lot to get through today. I didn't think that this would be a thing that I would be having difficulty with, but here we are. I've been trying to do the station for this junior coaster, and just nothing's been clicking. You want something that clicks, don't you? And it's just not been clicking. And every time I try and make something, it comes out a bit too much. You know, it's a bit too ostentatious for necessarily what we're after from a junior coaster. So maybe we'll work on something together. You might be looking over here and thinking, you did this. I did. Guilty as charged. On this side here, I started just adding in some more like practical decorative foliage. And by practical, what I mean is it's almost like a defensive foliage where this is shielding something. So we just had it like a big, like wide wall here on this side. If I do the invisible scenery, you can see the context for this. This is just an exit path. The entrance path goes to this entrance area over here. And I just wanted to obscure some sightlines here to this bulky building, and I did a similar thing here where I'm just sort of blocking the exit path a bit, almost using foliage as a bit of a wall, in fact, and it's really that simple, just using it as a wall. And I feel like that's created a lot more interest for this area that's otherwise a bit blocky. So we've done some castle-y stuff here that a few people were suggesting maybe connect this tower over to here, and I feel like this has contextualized it a bit more. And maybe we can do a similar thing over here. Maybe we can have it connecting to a tower over here, or over here maybe. That could be quite fun. A couple of people pointed out that if I were to use the mini golf track over here, only one person would be able to be on it at a time, because mechanically a mini golf track is like block sectioned mode, where only one person can be in a hole at a time. And if there are no holes, like we would have on here, there can only ever be one person walking around it, because they'd have to get to and clear the block section, which is actually a hole, for another person to get onto the ride. So we've gone with the path here. And I'm trying to think of ways to get people to go up onto here, and I think a toilet probably works quite well, just to get them up and onto the path, because peeps need a reason to go somewhere, and this is part of why in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 they can navigate parks with double wide path. They simply eliminate a lot of options for themselves, so they don't need to consider them, and they might completely not consider this entire thing unless we put something up here that interests them, that makes them consider it a legal route for them to go down. My good friend Brian is not only my good friend, but he's a real life theme park designer, and you may have seen his comments on my channel. One of the bits of feedback or ideas that he suggested was that we should make the train a bit higher, and he used a real-life anecdote for this. He said in a real-life situation there was a swan boat ride. The real-life anecdote was... In fact, let's see if we can find it. Oh, thank you, Broken Baculum. Now, I know what a baculum is, and I hope you get well soon, because that sounds painful. Humans don't have those, though, so you're probably one of God's many other lovely creatures. I will always recall the case study of the swan boats in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom Lagoon. and that they were deemed not successful because the canal sat down low, so you really couldn't see anything. You were always looking up. And that real-world example is interesting to me. So I thought, we maybe don't have to like redo all of this, because I don't necessarily think a transport ride has to do a lot of the heavy lifting that some other rides might have to. But I thought we could have a dramatic moment where the train is much higher than its surroundings, and that could be something that is very evocative. So I thought, why not have maybe some sort of dam here? And I think the exact mechanics of it, because we're using NCSO with no hacks, we might have to settle into a situation that works for that. We might not be able to do it diagonally, but we're just doing planning here. This is simply planning. Even optimistic planning is still planning that you can reflect on later down the line. And I thought, let's make a valley that the train goes over. And again, this will be a negotiation between the landscaping and this train ride, because it might be that we can't get a diagonal bridge that we like. And that's something that I'm just going to have to accept in some way, shape or form. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go for it. We're going to start dropping land, and then we're going to see what the implications of that is. Because it's very low investment cost, really, isn't it? We've got all of this height that we've bought here. And what this would have been back in the day, if there's a dam, this would have been like a dry riverbed. And maybe even this area here wasn't really like a lake. It was simply like maybe the deepest gouge along here was the river, and these were just hills that were rising up from the river. And ignore this, I was just messing around. And as the dam filled up with water, it just went into the recesses, which are literally just like valleys between hills, and became the lake. So we don't really have to change anything about what we've done already, because that all works, like, in terms of real world stuff. But this kind of situation here, maybe we should get a bit more harsh. Maybe we should turn this off and start doing it a bit more, make it a bit smaller and start going zoop, 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 zoop. I think naturally it should really be trending down as it goes towards here, shouldn't it? So we should maybe go like this a bit. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? And maybe we'll just go like this a bit to be able to see, because seeing is believing. And I need to be able to believe in myself to build well. Maybe that's the most important piece of advice I've ever given. You have to believe in yourself if you want to be successful. So that's sort of what we've done in relation to the markings that I left here, but I think we can maybe push like all the way over to here, you know what I mean? And then with this, we've got a very sort of dramatic landscaping option along here. And this sort of serves as contrast to this as it rises up here. Maybe we can have a bit more of a cliff situation along here. And again, I'm not talking about Cliff Richard. I'm never talking about Cliff Richard. Very interesting indeed. Now you can see what it is I'm going for here, right? Can't you? Can you hear the ice cream van outside? We can't have any. We're too busy cooking right now. You can see what I'm going for here. I think the biggest challenge is going to be these diagonal elements that are going on here. But maybe we'll pull it a bit more along here, so it's a bit less dramatic in terms of height, but it still has that drama going on here. Or we will go big. I think that because with NCSO, it is going to be a challenge to furnish the diagonal parts. Not nearly as big as an issue if you're doing it with custom scenery, but for example, if we imagine, so we can do something like this that's really ramshackle like that, really, really blocky, but you can't do that on a diagonal. The options that we have for diagonals when we're not doing any hacks are kind of like this piece here. in which we can sort of go like that, but we can stack it, but it sort of looks a bit funny when we stack it. And we've got like this kind of wall that we can do like that. The clearances are very forgiving on that. Interesting. But in terms of like any larger structures like that, it's sort of coming out like that. Maybe it's like a colour issue. Maybe if we did something a bit more like this, we'd like it more. No. So we're going to have to compromise with all this. I'll leave those there as sort of like little tests that we've done, little bits of our history, if you will. But it probably won't zigzag across like this. It'll probably be more of a considered straight shot across the valley. Be that in a straight line, maybe across in this direction. Maybe we'll reform some of this landscape a little. That could be quite fun. But what we've done over here is effectively the same thing that we've done over here. And what that thing is we have created drama. And the drama is vertical in nature. There's like a story behind what's sort of going on here. Big cliffs, lots of opportunities to interact with those things. Imagine coming across to just a viewing platform over here and just looking out across this whole valley. I remember being in Bristol and doing that very thing and being very enamored by just the natural beauty of the landscape. There doesn't even need to be a sick roller coaster down there, but we can build a sick roller coaster down here. That's the beauty of this game. So it's quite a modest valley, but it does create that element of drama, and we can always expand it out if that's something that we want to do. Yes, I gave it the old college try, but nothing's fitting. It's just not right for the context, is it? But we did have a little bit of success over here. I built up this ridge a bit more, popped a Ferris wheel on there, and suddenly this place has a lot more personality. I think I'm going to build up some gardens here. I don't want to completely fill this with gardens. I want to have a little bit of grass as well, so maybe I'll just go like one tile deep like I had with the trees, maybe lift the trees up onto some gardens. But I did want to have a little bit of something here for some emphasis, you know. Around the back I've just got a little seating area. Perhaps some other people have got on. You want to go and sit there and wait for them to come off. Just a little queue, some hedges. It's cute, it works. I'd love to be in this queue waiting to go on this Ferris wheel, being up here looking over the area. That'd be wonderful. Great for the kids as well. And then over here I've been working on a bit of a car ride situation because are you quite done? Because believe it or not, Brian made more than one good point. The other good point he made was, I've not done a car ride yet. So, I thought we'd fork this area over to the car ride and maybe maybe leave it like that. I think it kind of works like that because it's got very well placed supports underneath it, and I feel like that's just quite cute as is. You don't need a lot to make it work. And maybe up to this point here we'll have some wood underneath. Where's our wood block? Here we go. Let's gouge away a little bit of space there for ourselves. And then underneath we could maybe put some barrels. Maybe a barrel will fit under here. Let's have a look-see. Come on! Can't believe it. Unbelievable. Scammed. As if that one doesn't fit, but this thing does. I don't think I want to use this thing though. It's not got a lot going for it, does it? Maybe this thing? That might be something. Just for a bit of personality under there. You know what I mean? Gotta have a little bit of personality under there. And then it juts out from there, and perhaps we shall just extend this a little bit like that. Oh, I didn't go like this on this side. There we go, now we're matching. We're not oh, goodness me. Right, X for me is tile inspector and Z is rotate, so I keep fat fingering it and clicking the wrong thing. There we go, we'll just spam these. There ain't no money. Ain't no money, ain't no worries. That's what we've got to remember. And I think it'd be quite cute to... I can never find the object. Let's grab it from over here. This is why the picker tool is so important. I know I did this already in a little tutorial on the YouTube shorts, but I'll do it again here for you guys, because I like you. I think you're alright. If you go into options, you go to keyboard, this thing, you go to shortcut keys. The one we're looking for is Open Scenery Picker. I have it set to V, but you can set it to whatever you want. And if you press V, let's close every window. By the way, if you have loads of windows open, let's just open a bunch of windows. If you press Shift and Backspace, it closes all of them. That's another cute little tip. But if we get rid of that, we press V, it brings up the scenery picker. We can just click on whatever we want, brings it up, the paint color, everything. It is a lovely, lovely, lovely quality of life improvement, to say the least. Or maybe we can add in something like this. That could be quite fun. Nice and easy. Look at that. That would be fun as heck to be on. Look at that. Let's get it testing. What kind of things do we want? Now, maybe vintage cars could be fun, but I think Cheshire Cats is the thing. And what you can do in current version of Open is you can randomize all of them. Is that cute or is that cute? So we're going to populate this with some gardens. Let's get some deep red fence walls like this. And what we're of course going to do as well, because I believe this... Oh, we need to do the wall version for it. If this doesn't work with car ride, I'm going to scream. Oh, look at that. Nice. So we're going to be getting a lot of stuff involved like that. We'll find nice places to have that. This is going to be a sick car ride. I don't like how it graphically glitches there though. Crumbs. I thought, why not theme a bit of this together? We're just going to go off the dome here. Usually I'm a bit more pernickety about stuff, but I think it'll be quite good just to hang out with you guys, talk about what I'm doing, because New Element user Fast rightly pointed out that it is kind of a bit hilarious that I'll say, and we're going to do some building today, and then we come back and it's all built already. And as like, I think that's like a fair, he didn't mean it as like a roast, it was more like, oh, it's just funny, and it is funny, but I thought, you know what, let's just do a bit of stuff together today. I feel like that could be a big, like a nice shake-up. First order of business is figuring out how to speak and build at the same time, because that is why I usually don't record whilst I'm doing stuff. It is a skill, and we better just get used to it, you know? Why act like it isn't something that needs training? And that just takes time, doesn't it? So I'm looking for, I feel like we can maybe put the dog, put the dog in the corner. Maybe put the dog on a little pedestal. And for that, we need to nip over here, and we're just gonna give it the old rotatey. We could also do something like that in these corners, couldn't we? And if we want to go really wild, then we add the dog. Haha! That actually rules. That's sick, isn't it? But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily fit the theme. I think we want to go a bit more like cheapy, you know what I mean? It needs to be a bit more cheap looking. Because it's that sort of ride. It doesn't mean that we can't make it look really cool, but that's just it's a bit too far, isn't it? We should save that as fuel for a different area, I think, because we were threatening to do a classic area, weren't we? Like a classics, like Roman and Egyptian sort of thing. So maybe the dog like this, and maybe we can swap one out for just like a block like that, and then that could like tell a little bit of story. You know, from that angle, these colour match quite well. I've always interpreted these to be a bit more like bronze, but maybe they are just stone. So there we are, we've incorporated the dog, and that's really what we needed more than anything, wasn't it? A little bit of dog representation. Let's interpret this landscape a little bit more as well. I apologise if there's noise coming from the windows. It's just one of those days. We're in the summer. As much as I'd like to suffer for my art, I do enough suffering in the editing process. So I think in the building process, I should show myself a little bit of mercy. So this is how I tend to approach landscaping. This isn't like definitive, because no doubt there's going to be lots of changes. But I'm going through with the corner thing. We can also do if you press Control when you're using the land mover, you see how it goes from a corner and it snaps to an edge instead, and then you can move an entire edge. Thank you to Fred for pointing that out to me. And similarly, if you grab like a big brush like this, if you press Control, it turns into a line. And that really is something, isn't it? And in order to like adjust what direction that goes in, you just got to fiddle with the cursor a little bit. I'm not sure on the rhyme and reason to it. I believe whatever side, if there's like an angle of symmetry down the middle here, if you're on either side of it, that side will be down from your perspective. Very nice, very nice. And you can also click on this. You can put in, the biggest it can do is 64, right? So if we want a 64 size, but that will save you from clicking too much on that thing and give yourself carpal tunnel. So I go through, and I'm just trying to, I just mess around really. I don't try and, these like sheer edges here, they're like, it's too smooth when it's mountain tool, you know what I mean? Look at this, it's just too smooth. So if you go through like this, it becomes a lot more natural, and that's what we're looking for. A little bit of imperfection really contributes to the overall vibe. Is this the same person that spams the horn? Because we had that yesterday, didn't we? And it wasn't funny then either. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, but you definitely heard it yesterday because I went and checked the footage. I think I might leave a bit of like a tall sheer edge just along there. Alright. Hopefully that communicates the power of not keeping it uniform. It's a lot more dynamic like this, easily more dynamic. And when we don't have like quartile landscaping options to work with, other than like these stones and stuff, they get old really quickly, in my opinion. So you've got to be a bit more discerning from my perspective. Did I already talk about this over here? I don't know if I did. So I'll talk about it now, and if I use it, I'll use it. And if I don't use it, then you'll never know. So why are you worrying? So over here, I pretty much used this principle. I feel like this structure here, this is exactly what I was talking about in the last episode, where I was like, you can leverage the entirety of the roller coaster's context to turn something that you might be a bit iffy about into something that you're really happy about. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. I felt like this jump and up into this high turn here, I felt like it was too high. So what do you do when something's too high? You can either make it lower, or you can make what's underneath it higher. And that's what I went with. I went for a... This feature here feels very British to me. I'm sure they're all over the world, but you'll just have like a huge hill with like a little like cliff on it, and it'll be from the nation of Great Britain is fundamentally carved by ice age glaciers and stuff like that. So what this feature would probably be is thousands and thousands of years ago, maybe a huge stone was carried by a glacier, or it might have been a huge deposit of rocks, like collectively were moved by a glacier and deposited somewhere. So it'll just be in the middle of nowhere, no other sort of geological features other than, you know, like maybe a valley, and there'll just be like a huge hill that doesn't feel very hill-like. It feels very like lopsided, for example, and that'll just be because of those ancient things that happened, and I love learning about stuff like that. I've softened up this edge a bit by just adding foliage around the outside. I've done a little bit of, you know, putting foliage at the bottom and then raising the tree up over it. Great trick, by the way. Great trick. And I just eased that out, and what that does is it creates a little ramp for this coaster to like justify this move up here, and then it's a cool sweep along there, and it's not really obscured any by these trees, but I feel like it's obscured to such a minor degree. All it's going to do is add mystery rather than shield it from anything. Like this cliff face is shielded, right? But this thing above it is like mysteriously shrouded. And those are all technical terms, by the way, so I hope you're writing them down. Mysteriously shrouded. It's going to be on the test. But yeah, it's really helped to contextualize the decision that was made to go up like that, and turned it from something I wasn't really too happy with to something that I'm way more happy with. Hopefully people aren't going to grieve too long for the powered launch, but there you go. Back over to our car ride. Like I said, we don't want it to be too we don't want it to be too expensive looking, because I feel like that flies in the face of the whole thing. So maybe we'll just do something like this. We don't want to hide the doors, so maybe I'll just do it a bit like this, and then we can pretend that this is a royal courtyard of some description. Now that's cute. That is cute. You know what? I would have loved that when I was a kid. I'm just picturing myself there. So let's replace a couple of these walls with some more interesting ones. And then we don't want to go too crazy on the heights here, because I'm just thinking it would just fall outside of the budget, wouldn't it? It would just be a bit too external to the budget means. Should we do it like this? Maybe I'll make these ones a bit taller, just because they do jut off it a little bit, and we'll just go... Or maybe we could be a bit more like this with it. And sort of invert the ideas that we were expressing. Like over here, where it's like the red on top. That's cute. Let's roll with that. And maybe we could very simply just do some windows. That get topped with these. And that keeps it short and of manageable height, whilst in my opinion making it extremely interesting to the little ones. Because what you gotta remember, guys, is kids are kind of easy to impress. I wonder what the demographics of this channel are, because it is an old game. I wonder how many of you guys watching have children. Don't dox yourselves in the comments. Don't give away too much, but I'd love to get an idea for how old you guys are. You can just say like oldie or youngie, or extremely oldie, extremely youngie, or sort of middling age. A normal age is, by the way, the normal age is whatever age I am. So guess how old I am, and then if you think you're my age, say normal age. That's how we're rolling, okay? I think, like with every other thing we're looking at here, let's just sketch out what opportunities do we have to plumb interest from this situation. And I'm spotting that there's just a line along here that maybe we could have, like... Do we want to have like a... maybe like... We could do something like this, right? You've got to be kitten me. Because it's a cat ride? Come on. That's worth a subscribe. I've never asked before. You've got to subscribe. That pulls a bit close to the station, but that's probably not gonna cause us any ill. I like that. I like it. So now that we've conceptualized that figure, I'm also seeing there's like a bowl here, but I feel like a station's probably gonna eat into this area here, so let's just conceptualize what we think the station's gonna be. Something that's a bit like that. I really can't imagine it having a enormous station. I think the rest is just going to be garden time, isn't it? It's going to be Gardenville. I think we can probably just do this, right? And just not overcomplicate it. Life's already complicated enough, isn't it? What are we doing helping life to make itself complicated? So what can we imagine putting here? We've really got to refer to the Brian Andrelczyk style guide. So maybe we just get the statues in here. After all, we aren't messing around. I think the general principle of hiding one side from the other side could profit us here. So maybe if we just make a vague gesture toward that. And then this structure here obviously wouldn't be too obscuring because it is a grate, so you can just look through it, but I feel like that could be so fun. Yes, kind of love that. We are rocking. Oh, and I had an idea for this as well, so maybe we shall just briefly dip over here. And let's not worry too much about the... Whoops. No entrance, we want plain, don't we? We could do no entrance because it is part of the game, but we are trying to help ourselves to encounter challenges that people would encounter. So we have a solution for, we could just go, oh, look at that, it's gone. You know? But that's not in the spirit of what we're doing, despite how easy it is. This is meant to be a stepping stone towards those ideas, and the point is that if you can I really genuinely think that those tools can obscure the point from people, and they'll be there going, why can't I make something that's like pleasing to me? And it's simply because you haven't yet accepted the truth. You haven't accepted the truth. But I think you can handle the truth. That you don't need hacks to have happy life. And in fact, those hacks might be making your life worse. So I think we're going to go for a footpath in the way. Excuse yourself. Oh, a little bit of footpath there. Got to make sure those wood blocks are all in the same orientation. Otherwise we're going to get laughed out of here. I think what we can do here as well is maybe help obscure this. But if you just take a sign and do that, because we can't place the sign backwards, right? Because it wouldn't be on a path in that situation. I guess there's not much difference between like that colour, like the brown colour and the white colour. And the same can be said for the human person. Remember, to judge someone based on the circumstances of their birth is cringe. That is the official stance of fundamental forest. It's the ancient advice. Keep it simple, stupid. I felt like we were going too buck wild, and for such a basic ride, it was kind of counterproductive to what we were trying to communicate, having it like big and huge. Do we want for this to be the regular colours? Maybe we do. So we're just making it look a bit more castle-y. But after all, castle-y is kind of the way to go. It is a solid, dependable theme. Castle is as castle does. Right, let's just plop these down and then we'll tackle the issue of the buildings as we kind of reach it. If I want to get cheeky, we can do a bit of that. And then we can do this and be like, it's a little bit of breathing room for everyone. I do feel like the red spacer that we've got going around here does a lot of heavy lifting to help it feel a bit more airy. So this is the only kind of wall with any sort of ornamentation on it. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? But that's quite alright. That just fits. You've got to be junior coasting me. Doesn't work so well. Maybe you've got to be kidding me. Okay, maybe we should just pan over there when we need to do that joke. I hope I include all of this unedited, so you can see why it is I edit. We found it. We found it. And we found it on the fly as well. This is literally... You watched me do it. So in a lot of situations, the main thing that's holding us back is the fact that we need to keep trying. So that is definitely a huge piece of advice. And it's definitely something that I've said before in terms of like you've got to be patient and that sort of thing. And that's a key wisdom in all walks of life. As much as we'd all love to be the guy who gets it right the first time and it's uncontroversial and it just happens and we're so talented, I think there's an element of that which is just like fiction. Like that those people are probably obscuring some of their process to make it seem like it's effortless, because it is quite an impressive thing for it to seem effortless. But no, you've just got to commit to it. And the best way to make it happen is the first part of success is showing up. And if we hadn't shown up today, we wouldn't have got that. We wouldn't have got this station done. It's really that simple. You know, we showed up. We said, whatever happens, happens. If it's good, it's good. And if it's not, then we move on to the next thing. And that's how we achieve success. Now, what we can do here as well is, because this is kind of perhaps not as beautiful as we'd like it, what we can do is be tenacious with our tree placement, so as to help obscure it a little bit, so as to sell it a little bit. So this is a lot more kiddie coaster station, isn't it? This is the archetypal kiddie coaster station. As simple as it comes. We don't want to over-invest in the kiddie coaster, do we? And I feel like that has sold it in its totality. I'm really happy with that. I think the next thing we'll do is get a proper idea of what we want this queue to do. And I think it might have something to do, because I want it to enter at this edge of the plaza. But I think I want a building to be here as well. Maybe just like a gift shop thing even. Though more logically, we may want to have a gift shop over here, but we don't always get what we want in this life. I don't know if we can get this low enough, can we? Maybe that's enough. I think that's a little bit better. Maybe the two in combination. The thing is with the wooden one is the wooden sign is kind of like ugly. It's very like unbalanced, isn't it? It's like it ain't normal. It says wooden sign, but it's like, what kind of wood are you using there? It's very square wood that isn't like evenly square. The snow-covered one's kind of awesome as well, let's not forget. Let's not forget that. Alright. I think maybe just a classic one of these might be enough. And then I'm picturing... Could be at the wrong height though, wouldn't it? Let's test it out. So that's where the limit of that affects that, so it looks like we're not going to get that in, regardless. But you got to experiment. One simply must experiment. Maybe we can do a bit of this. If we look from this angle, it's getting a bit crowded. Like from that angle it looks very crowded, but maybe that's fine. Maybe that helps it seem a bit more complete. And this path through here is mainly just a moving people path, isn't it? To get people into the area and to have some magical moments where we go over here and under here. In an ideal world, maybe we would want to do a bit more with it, but I really, it's a kids area. We really mustn't worry too much. And then we scoot back over to this side, and this is very much the process that I have, where I'm literally, when I feel like my inspiration's getting just a little bit drained, I try not to turn the game off. I'll try to hop into a different area and see if we can work some magic somewhere else. You know, I think we can get something a little bit stylish going on here. So which side is this on? Okay, that's on the other side. I think we can almost... No, we can't, because it would destroy it. I thought that we could make a slanted hedge there, but it wasn't to be. Do we want to build this up some more? Do we want this to be like that, perhaps? Oh, I've put this on the wrong side. It does sort of strangely alternate what side it's on. Did I just do the wrong side again? I think I did. I think in other contexts I might experiment a bit more. Okay. To make sure that I feel like it's on the right side. But we're trying to move with a swiftness here. I feel like that is the thing that profits us the most. I think maybe just having some big old sightline blocking trees there would profit us. I feel like I want something just modest in this corner here just to block that. See, that tree's great because it's just so chunky, and it's chunky from the word go as well. And this one's also good for that. But it's less chunky than we might perhaps want. We'll leave it like that for the time being. And now we want to beautificate this part here. I think for this one, the thing that will probably profit us most is just literally having a mock castle structure here. Maybe we'll knock out these corners and just have some towers like that, and I feel like we could definitely get some circular towers in here somewhere. That's outrageous that you can't get them in there. I feel like that tower really works there, doesn't it? Do you want to have that instead of these trees? Maybe we could have a bit of a door situation here. No, I feel like that's going a bit far, maybe. So let's leave it like that. Maybe change the ground beneath it. That's giving it some room to breathe. And then I think we're just playing with gardens, right? Maybe in this part we can have blue gardens. Maybe a bit of a gap there to maybe put something like that. Yeah, that's awesome. And leave this part a bit more open air. Are we really gonna like imprison a poor unfortunate entertainer on this path here? Maybe pirate could be good. The simple one is obviously the knight, isn't it? That's the easiest winner. I think we'll just block off this perspective, just using the hedges. Just have that be an enclosed garden. But I feel like maybe from this other direction, we could maybe have like a viewing platform that can see it on its like return thing, and you can see over to this part as well. Don't want it to be too close to that queue though, do we? Oh, we definitely want to swap the entrance and exit around. What am I thinking? As a rule of thumb, you want the entrance to be on the edge that's going to be loading the guests, and then the returning side, so the back part, you want the exit to be on. And that way people aren't walking across each other in this situation. Where if it were a roller coaster, you'd definitely want them to be on opposite sides. Just for in terms of throughput, you want them to be pouring in on one side, putting all the possessions on the other side, like their phones and their bags and whatnot, and then when they leave, they just grab them, pick them up, and they walk out. And that's really important for not having people crossing over each other and just keeping everything running smoothly. For like smaller rides like this, I really don't think it's as big of a deal for like kids rides. But it is something to, of course, to bear in mind. But that also helps us because this, if we contextualize this viewing platform as perhaps a place where people can go to whilst a family member is on the ride, you want that to be near the exit. So these, and maybe we can just sort of do the exit like that. Do we want it like that, or do we want it like that? We'll see if we can make it cool, make a cool way to get it to go across there. But in terms of the queue, we're gonna stick to the areas theme and keep it blue. Now we can't have a diagonal entrance, but we're sort of imagining this is a bit of a diagonal entrance. And I thought it would be pretty cool to make the queue a bit like the ride and make it like, ooh, you're going through the gardens. Maybe we'll push the gardens all the way up to there. So I think we'll break tradition a little bit and go with the conifer hedges underneath here. What do we want? Maybe something like that. And then in the queue proper we can Drop some statues. Thinking this is a perfect place to bob a tree, maybe. And that can continue that curve, but we can also pop it there. That works. What's like just a little something we can pop in there? I feel there's a bit too much like textural noise with the bed type thing. So maybe if let's return to Old Faithful. Maybe a lady. A lady and a bloke, perhaps? Maybe we'd turn this way so they're both facing this diagonal moment over here. And I don't want to block the view for people. So maybe there's a bit of that, but also a little bit of hedge. Now that's looking good. We don't want to leave them high and dry with no shade though, so maybe we'll get some red canopy action going on. Just want to go one higher. Maybe we could do white and cream canopy. Maybe that could look quite nice. We'll just go with this for now. And then we can do a bit of this. Hello? These aren't high enough. Now we're talking. You're telling me we can't get in that corner? You've got to be kidding me. Most of this episode is just going to be wrestling with these posts, isn't it? It's got to find the magical vertex that makes it work. A work-ex, if you will. That wasn't worth it, was it? Editor Sam, remember to edit that out. He's not gonna do it, he's overworked. Come on, baby. There's gonna be so many, like, outdoor sounds in this episode. This is the life that you lead when someone decides to build something over the road from you. Now, I'm not a NIMBY, so I accept the ever-changing nature of the world. But that doesn't mean that I don't get peeved every now and then with the amount of clamour and racket. There we go, that's something, isn't it? You can't tell me that's not something. grab the roof. Get lost, financial window. And I think I will defensively place that thing. I'll move that because I feel like we will have to... We'll have to place our wall on this outside edge, and this, you can't... If you try and build on the same level as this, you can't. It blocks it, so just move that to the next one. Pretty much problem solved. Same with that part there. And that marries up quite well with these structures over here. And maybe we can simplify this a bit from this angle. We can do... Let's see what the roof situation is first. We're getting the most mileage that we can out of this roof in this area. That is good. Ah, crumbs, I forgot about that. Fool! You should have known. This is what happens, guys, when you never play with zero clearances. When you never play with the clearances up, sorry, usually. This is a living nightmare. So the trick that we fall back on in this situation is typically, what have we done in other places? We went for more of a brown wood thing here, but I feel like this is going to be a bit more forgiving. So we're going to go for the lighter wood effect. And we get that by doing this. And then we do this. And then we have to open this up again in order to do this. I think we'll get rid of this one to do a bit of that. That works, doesn't it? And we'll just move that to the outside edge. That's going to delete itself anyway, isn't it? Like a good setup exe, it will delete itself. That's something, isn't it? It's worth the price of entry. Maybe we'll just do it like that. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the lesson we've got to keep reminding ourselves. And perhaps we shall mirror this figure on this side. Can't see worth a darn. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying watching this entire process as it happens. Hope it's not infuriating. Boy oh boy, I am so glad that this wasn't a complete disaster. Can you imagine if we just ended up deleting everything that we did? That would have been incredibly embarrassing, but also kind of part of the fun. guy here. A bit of that. Nah, don't think we need to. I don't think we need to. And it's as simple as that. So let's grab this fence, I think. We've got a bit of a mix of fences going on here. But I think that's alright. I think context is, of course, the most important ingredient in this game. And having a bit of a mix of contexts. I wish I would just replace it. Like, I guess it's good that it doesn't, though. I think I might separate it along that axis then and let that be part of this side. I suppose it's kind of apt that there's construction happening whilst I'm constructing. I think we should just take that perspective. And we'll be all the happier for it, won't we? What am I opening that one for? I want to put some benches over here. I think just on those edges so you can let people stand and view what's happening over here. I think that's the winner. Of course, I think we want to change the path to just this one. So that it echoes a bit more of this thing that we're trying to communicate over here. We can fit something underneath there, hopefully. Maybe a flower. Maybe we can just fit one of these underneath it. Would you look at that? Life's easy. Life is so easy. And then we will keep it simple. I think we will grab this. Where's my mouse? It's there. I'll just grab these colours. And get the best of both worlds. Does that look bad? Maybe we'll try these in. Activate. Brown is a theme. Go gadget, brown is a theme. Looks a bit lonely just having one, doesn't it? There we go. Looks a bit better. And there we go. We've managed to retain the sort of style that we've set up over on the other side and bring it to here. Ooh, I think I'm going to take a break for a minute and maybe we'll return and I will have finished theming this. Once I've gone on Fiverr and paid someone else to do the rest, perhaps someone talented. Well, heavens above. It appears we've reached that time of the episode once again. It's time for us to say goodbye. It's time for us to part ways. If you have... I certainly hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit of like a change of pace from what we've done in the last few episodes. We sort of returned a little bit to that episode 1 vibe, where for long periods we were just vibing out. I've certainly not edited this episode as much as I've edited that one, because one of the main bits of feedback that I've got is that sometimes it's a bit hilarious when I say I'm going to build something, and then instead of seeing my process of building, it just suddenly appears. So I've hopefully remedied that a bit. Do let me know if you have enjoyed this format, and perhaps more importantly, let me know if you didn't enjoy it, because then we'll never do it again, because I want to entertain you guys. But I think it's going to be fun to see me do the car ride in real time and seeing what my thought process is. Maybe it will help you realize why I don't do that all the time, because I am kind of insane and I probably should be filtered for the most part. But it's been an absolute joy to have you. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure you give it a like, because that helps YouTube understand that it should show it to people who enjoy this kind of thing, the whole Roller Coaster Tycoon affair. If you've got any questions or any comments, I really love reading your comments. I reply to every single one. They're all important to me. They'll help me form the next episodes, even if it's just saying that you enjoy something that we've done or that you didn't enjoy it. Any requests that you have as well, get them thrown in there. I love reading your comments, and again, it does help grow our little community, and that's what we want at the end of the day. We want more people playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. And if you think that you want to see more stuff like this, and you want to see it perhaps every Saturday when these episodes come out, hitting the subscribe button will make sure that appears there in your subscription box. I'll love you and leave you. I hope you have a lovely week.